Okay. Last thing we have to do is do our piping. I think that's, oh, and then this. So the other thing I do is I'm going to have you guys do your own, but we're going to grab this and then you're going to do this kind of whatever you want to do up here. Just remember that if you go to solo, if you have that curve on like we talked about, if you come in here, you go to brush and you go to depth and you make sure your curve is on. So this should be 0. And then let's see, control, depth mask, pull this up to here, deselect it. And then you can come in here. Oh, goodness. Document, actual, there we go. So come in here, and then now when we do this, we can just push control and get close to what we want, as long as your back face mask is on too. And again, back face mask is in brush and then auto masking. And then, and mine's not even doing that great here. You know, then we just do an extract on this. And it may not be perfect. But anyway, I did mine in that other shape. We can do it any shape you want. Okay, so the last thing is piping. Piping is that little tube stuff that's around the outside of stuff. I didn't like how smooth this is here. I'm going to try and see if a clay polish will work on it, and it did a pretty good job. Clay polish will flatten out a lot of the stuff you do, but then it does this too, so yeah, I don't like that. We can try a Z-remesher and see. Right now we're at 200K. I don't think we're going to try and get it at 5, but if we try 50 or something, let me do a quick save first. Let me do this. Let's see what it does. And we can see that didn't work too good, so we're going to undo that. Okay. And then, you know, there's a couple things you could do. You could do this. Not that. But, oops. But this. Oops. If you hold the space bar, you can move it around. And this. So we have nice clean edges. Okay. Why is that important? Well, let's start with our other pieces. What is that? Oh, it's up there. Let's come down to our neck pieces here. Right now they're perfect because if you look at them, they all have different color. So I can push Control, Shift, and click. And I thought they all had different color. Well, that sucks. I can. There's no easy way to clean up this mess I've made. Except for tried the old-fashioned way. And unhide all. Let's turn this F off. And we'll come down to polygroups, and inside polygroups we'll say by normal. Let's see what we get. That's interesting. But weird. Let's try 30. There we go. So this one is its own. That's really what we want. Okay. So I've got this. That's perfect. We want each of those faces to be in their own. And what we're going to use is a new tool that's not in any of our menus over here, but it's actually in our stroke tools. And we're going to start getting into strokes now, because stroke is also, you can see right here, but there's a bunch of other stuff where you get to do with it. So actually, before we do that, let me go back a little bit to the geometry of this. Let's just use this slug that we're using. There's a thing called a curve brush, and a curve brush allows us to drag objects onto things, like this. This is a curve, you know. If I don't have that on, it helps. If I turn that off, and then so it does a curve on an object. This one's not the best at doing that exact thing, but that's fine. We could do, for example, there's other things too, like I am in clothing or army curve, and we can grab this bullet and just do this. And now we've got bullet sets. It's really cool, right? Well, eventually we're going to make our own, so we'll do that in a few minutes. And actually, for our guns, we'll probably make our own. But for now, we're just going to use those, the curve multi-tools. So I'm going to go back to where we were, which is this. And the cool thing about this is, now that I have this isolated, I can click on curve functions inside of the stroke menu, turn off my polygroups and my borders, or on my crease edge, and I can just say border. If I click on border, it does this outline around my object. Now, when I have a curve brush on, if I click on that object, oh crap, hold on, always something. Okay, so I got to get rid of my meshes there, my divisions. So if I click on that object, I'll say frame mesh, it does that. Now if I click on that object with this curve multi-tool brush, and I click on it, it puts that ring around it. Now don't worry, it's really big, but that's based on the size of the brush. Now, since I'm using dynamic, or I turned off dynamic, when I get closer, the brush is actually no smaller. It just looks like it is. So don't ignore the dynamic part of that. And basically, we want this brush to be like this big. Now I click on it, it's a little bit smaller, maybe even smaller than that. I guess even there. Maybe, yeah. There. We just want a small little piping. Now, it is going to grab this other part, and we'll have to clean that up in a second. But the thing we want to do real quick is, and these are pretty easy to clean up for this one especially, we're going to come in here, and we're going to say split, and we're going to say split mask points. Easy enough. Come back to our next one, and we're going to grab Shift Control and grab this, because we know that's an edge, and then we're going to say frame mesh. We're going to click again. We don't have to change the size because we know it fits perfectly. And then we're going to say split mask points. And then we're going to come back to this one, and we're going to click on the bottom one here, and it's going to hide everything but that. And then we're going to say frame mesh, and then one more time click. Ooh, that one's weird. Hello. Wow. I don't even know. That's so weird. Oh my goodness. You know, these things don't happen when I'm not teaching. Let me try turning up the brush size. So weird. Curve smoothness, let's turn up that. There, that's what it wanted. The smoothness wasn't higher. It wasn't giving it enough divisions or whatever, or figured it out to get that nice and smooth. So now we got it. Okay, let's check and make sure they're all the same thickness. They look pretty good. So we got all those. I did do that cut, so we're gonna have to move this, but what we need to do is probably get rid of the other sides of this. So I'll do another split mask, and then